Okay guys, welcome to Pitching 301. Today we're going to discuss how to control yardages from inside 50 yards using a multitude of techniques. So stick around, we got a lot to cover. Go in the hole. Ugh, right in the basket. So controlling pitch shots inside 50 yards, if you don't practice a lot, it can be very difficult. So there's a lot of different ways of doing it, but I prefer the biomechanical lockdown method. In other words, I lock down specific joints in my body. I minimize access to other joints in my body, specifically in the lower body, whether it be my knee, my ankle, or my hip, so that I can only use certain muscle groups. This I found to be more consistent day to day and allows me pretty much good yardage control no matter what I'm doing. So for this particular video, I'm going to show you guys a cool way to hit 30 to 40 yard shots by managing this, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to manage our grip, okay? And the idea would be the stronger your grip is, the less access you have to pronation, supination, which allows you to open and close the club and becomes basically just a flexion and dorsiflexion action. So in other words, one plane. Okay? Pretty simple stuff. By doing that, I now also take away the ability to take the club any higher than waist high, because if I try to turn more than that, now my arms start getting away from my body and I can get stuck in all kinds of weird stuff. So think of it as a hammer action is all we're going to do. So let's see what happens if we literally take everything out of the swing but our wrists. Okay, so we're going to put our weight on our left side. We're locking out this left leg. We're not going to use it. We're going to spin on it, but we're not going to use it. And all we're going to do is pick the club up and drop the club down. Let's see what happens. Everything else is standard setup. Okay, so notice that came out to about 40 yards, just right at the bunker. Well, I guess it landed in the bunker, about 45 yards, but we are downhill. So, you know, TrackMan is going to give me the algorithm. It's going to say it's about 48. So what happens if I go even stronger on the grip? So notice I was about here. Now we're going to go to here. Same thing, pick up, drop. Everything else is locked out. Comes out lower. We knocked about 5-10 yards off there. Yeah, so that's my 40 yard shot. So understand that as you learn how to manage your biomechanics, you can also manage yardage inside 50 yards more consistently, because your wrist joints aren't going to change. You're not going to get magically more mobile. If anything, you'll get less mobile in your wrist joints as you age. So you might lose a yard or two or half a yard, but you're going to be pretty consistent day to day. Okay, so let's say we go to our max strong grip. We only have one axis to hinge, but we want to add a little distance. So that went about 40, but there's a net right behind the sand bunker there, that little black net. What if I want to go all the way to that? Well, all I'm going to do is increase my trajectory now. So move the ball position slightly forward and get my shaft lean so that it's not forward, but it's just neutral. And then from there, same thing, all wrists. And perfect, landed right inside of the net on the first bounce. So, you know, when we're trying to manage distance, a lot of times we'll overcomplicate it. And essentially what this is going to lead to, guys, is better feel. So after you do this for a while, you're just going to kind of get a feel for what it is, instead of having to pull your laser out and say, okay, this is a 35 yard shot and I got to do this, this, and this. All you do is you're just like, that's just a little wrist pop, like so. And literally landed right in the little grass thing right in the center of the bunker there. So what you guys have to understand is that pitching is more of a feel thing than a technique thing. But if you learn how to manage your biomechanics, you can change a lot on the fly. And that's why this is Pitching 301, because now we're learning how to make adjustments on the fly. So for this next one, there's a center bunker here that's roughly 50 yards, probably 48 today, a little downhill shot. And we're just gonna use our standard pitching technique by, instead of having this leg locked out, we're gonna give knee access back. So now I can actually move that knee and create a little bit of force through the strike. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Same grip, same posture, everything else. That's probably going to be about a 55-yard shot. But again, it landed right in the center of the bunker. Yeah, exactly. So from there, you can start finding your 5-yard intervals in distance by just gently and easily messing with your biomechanics a little bit at a time. So here's another shot we have that's in between yardages. So there's probably a 60-yard net right behind that center bunker. Now I just hit it 55, that was great, but now I have to add 5 yards. How do I do that consistently? Well, we had the grip like this. What happens if we just give ourselves a little more access to our forearms? So we're going to go to more of just a standard strong grip. And again, you can always manage this by where the arrow is pointing between your thumb and your forefinger. Where does this line point? That's neutral. That's at the right shoulder. That's at the right armpit, almost the right rib cage. So this will give you a kind of a semblance of control. And again, notice we're just a little bit on the shaft here going up towards the right shoulder. So we're giving ourselves just a little more wrist access, a little more forearm access. And we're going to do the same thing. And that's perfect. Landed right next to the net, which is actually behind that bunker right now instead of to the right of it. And as you can see, we went 60 yards. That was that 5 yards we wanted. Okay, but that was a little low. What if we want to hit a little higher? Well, let's do all the same things and just move the ball position up and open our stance. See what happens. Look at that. Yeah, one hopped right in the net, guys. And I guarantee that's a 60-yard shot. 57, that was a good shot. I'm not even going to complain about that. That was a 10 out of 10 for me, or 9 out of 10 at least. So, all right, so now you've seen how to add 5 yards by simply giving yourself a little more wrist access, by giving yourself the ability to swing the club a little further by giving yourself that wrist access, and then also by minimizing the ability to use your lower legs, right? So what happens if I add my lower legs back in? We're just going to keep going at the same target, but now I got to hit it 65 yards, right? So we've had all this weight over here. Now we're just going to bring that weight back, center it, and be balanced again. Let's see what happens with the same grip too, guys. This gives me a lot of access to my wrists. Now it's a much higher shot. Went about 60 yards. Exactly. So as you can see, even if, like, that wasn't the best strike, let's try to hit one better. There we go. And there's my 65-yard shot. Right over the top of that bunker. Exactly. So just by giving myself a little access back to my legs and taking the axis and just moving it back a touch, I gained 5 yards. And what I notice with a lot of people is they overthink these shots. After you do this for a while, guys, you get really proficient at feeling what it is, and you don't have to think quite as much. So you just come in. I mean, look, I'm in a dirt hole right here, and I'm going at the 50-yard target. My body's just telling me I need a lot of wrist action. I need a neutral shaft lean. Yeah, and I need to take my legs out of it. And that's just like natural, guys. Like, there's no thought to that. And I landed it right next to the grass in the bunker, as you can see. So I went exactly 50-ish yards. And that was a terrible lie. And understand, I do this a lot. I'm not saying that I'm not proficient because I don't practice. What I'm saying is I don't practice this a lot, and I got pretty darn good yardage control. And just to kind of prove my point, we're going to go over here to the right bunker now. That's a 35-yard shot because we're even closer to it. Let's just verify that we're all set up correctly. And I'm going to lock down even more biomechanics here so you guys can see how to take even more off. So now we're going to take our arms and we're going to twist them this way. When we do that, we literally, they can't get away from us. This is the old Hogan drill. Remember, he said, pin your arms to your side and swing around your body.
Clutch your sides with your elbows and visualize your elbows being attached to your body and your arms instead of at your shoulders. And just start moving your body from right to left, around in a circle, holding your elbows in your side.
Let's see what happens when I do that. Nothing else changes. Weight on the left side, forward shaft lean, but now we're just going to spin those arms in. Look at that. Took a ton of yardage off that, guys. 35 yards. 44. Okay. Again, I'm downhill. What the TrackMan is saying is probably 5 yards off. So that was, we'll say that was a 40-yard shot. But anyway, the point is not to prove that I can do this over and over and over. The point is to show you how easy it is to manipulate your biomechanics to control distance. Now we're going to hit a little higher. Same thing, weight on left side. We're going to go with the neutral grip. So we have a neutral shaft lean, and then we're going to spin these arms in again. Let's see what happens. There's our 35-yard shot. So with each change, you're going to recognize that there's a slight modification to your yardages. Usually about 5 yards for each change, which is pretty interesting given that the human body is so complex. This, for me, really simplifies things. All right. And then one final shot here. So we've been doing everything inside 50, 60, 70 yards. So we've done a couple 40s, couple 35s, couple 50s, couple 45s. What happens if we got to go 70? Well, if this is my 90-yard club, right, and I need to go 70 yards, what do you think I'm going to do? I only have to remove one element, guys. That's the grip, right? And then it limits my swing, and I just make a full swing. I give myself full access to my legs again by going with a shoulder width stance. I don't lean on one side. I just take a strong grip, and I swing. And now I have a 70-yard shot. It's so simple. A caveman could do it. So, for those of you out there that don't have a lot of time to practice, here's the beauty of all this, right? And here's your bonus content. You can do this at home. And you can feel it too. You can be at home and you can take this grip and you can be like, you know what? He's right. I can't do anything with this. If I've got all my weight over here and I'm just hinging my wrist, I'm only going to be able to hit it 30 yards, right? So you can do stuff like this. So I've got the inner spring turn, I've got the super strong grip, and I've got all my weight on my left side. Watch what happens. I can only turn so much. It's a 40-yard shot all day long. And there was plenty of spin on that too, even though I hit it low. All these things, you can manage your golf game so much better day to day. So now let's take a neutral shaft lean, all the weight on the left side, spin the arms in, and take a neutral grip. So we've got a little access to our forearms, but mostly just to slide the club under the ball. Now it comes out higher, but guess what? 40, 45 yards. Bingo. So I'm not advocating you go play golf on one leg. All I'm saying is the way you guys practice pitching could really be expanded upon. And this is only 301, guys. Wait till we get to the 500s. It's going to blow your mind. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you.